That was one great panel discussion. Moving further to our next technology presentation on topic connected data analytics, the new oil. To present that, we have with us Khushal Bhansali, Country Manager, TigerGraph. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, everyone. I know I'm standing between lunch and you. There are a few more sessions to go, and you have been here for last 2 days, and you have been very patient audience. Thank you so much for that. And what we have heard in last 2 days is most of the senior industry veterans, my fellow technologists, multiple panel discussions. If you really look at it, one thing was very common in that, and that was the data. And when we talk about data, data has been at the center point of discussions, and especially around the banking industry for long. So today I'm going to talk about it a little more. Please be with me on this. And the topic I've taken is basically the connected data analytics, the new oil. And why I say this new oil, because we have been talking about data for long, and we have been saying that the data is the new oil for long. But now the time has come where we are actually talking about how do we get best out of, more out of data. Because I believe that there is a lot of potential in the data, which right now we are not, able to capture, or we are not able to explore, or we are not able to get, optimal value out of data. And that is where the connected data actually brings a lot of value on the table. So I'm Khushal, as introduced. I take care of TigerGraph India business. We have been a startup. We started around 2012. 2017-18, our commercial product came into the market. And the person who actually brought this solution to the market is basically our CEO, who used to work for LinkedIn. And he was struggling with how to connect data. And LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram have been part of everybody's life, And when you look at all these platforms, what you see, what is the power of these platforms is the connection. And he struggled to work on the conventional technologies, and that is where he thought of coming up with the his own solution. And the reason today we have TigerGraph on the board. We'll talk more about this. And before we jump on this connected data and why we are talking about this connected data, the foremost reason for that is basically how the life has changed in last 15, 20 years. I'm sure everybody remembers the mobile coming into everybody's hand around 15, 18 years back. Everybody knows that revolution. And once the mobiles came in, that was more around the voice. Data was there, but not much use of that. And there was a time when the data became pretty cheap around 5-8 years back. And then came the banking, the last mile banking. We started talking about it. So today, possibly we will have the largest population which has a mobile phone, which has data, the data plans, and then they have the banking access. And benefit of that is basically when we talk about such situation is basically there's so much data available today, which was not there around 15 years back. And when you have the data with you, how do you get best use it? That is what brings the value on the table. And on top of all these three things I spoke about, the corona played a very important role. When this COVID stuck, we all were stuck in our houses, and we had to still do our business. So whether it was banking, insurance, you talk about IT, everything was working on digital platforms. And the moment digital platforms are there, the more data is available today. And how do we get best out of it? We'll talk about it. And why are we talking about the connected data? Because as per Gartner, if you really look at the industry situation today, the graphs are being used into the data and analytics projects. Around 10% of the projects are using it today. However, looking at the Gartner's prediction, they are talking about 80% data and analytics projects by 2025 will be using the graph technologies into that. So what we are talking here is basically to graph or not graph is not the answer. When do you start? How fast, how early you start, how quickly you can adopt, and what all use cases you can adopt for. That will actually help your business. And when we talk about banking is at a very unique situation. You work with money, and when you work with money, the biggest challenge you have is you can't hold your money. You have to let your money go into the market for business. And when you let go your money into the market, the only thing you rely on is how does this money come back to you? It has to, it's a circle, it should come back to you. And when you're looking at that, you're playing a very balanced game where you let go the money to the right people and it should come back to you. And that is where you bring the value on the table for your shareholders, where you're making money using the money. And when we talk about this situation, two parts are there. One is how do you get more out of your business? So finding out your good customers. And at the same time, you're also talking about how do you stop the money going to the bad people. I was just reading one small, article in the morning. RBI report says in Q3 we are talking about 39,000 crore worth of bad loans were written off, as compared to the H1, which was around 46,000 crore. So we are already sitting on close to a lakh crore, bad loans written off this year, which is a huge money. And whose money is that? That's everybody's money, whoever is listening to this presentation today. And that's where graph plays an important role. And that's why Gartner says, if you really look at here, distributed everything, how you can connect data, and the graphs are something which will actually help you to relate data. Very quickly, I just spoke about TigerGraph. A few more details on that. We started in 2012. We are based out of California. And what we do is basically we do the advanced analytics and machine learning on the connected data. And when we talk about that, what is important here is basically this feature, where we are talking about we act as a database where you can bring your transactional data, and at the same time you can run analytics on top of that. So it's basically HTEP. It's a combination of OLTP and OLAP, which is a big concern for most of the banking, analytics professionals. This is being sorted out here. And when you do this, and when you can relate data, you actually basically you're creating a foundation for your AI and ML solutions. And because of this reason, what we do is basically we bring on the table the connected data analytics, which is around 40 to 300 times faster. Excuse me. And one more thing which has been done here is basically we all have been dealing with SQL for long. Almost everybody in this room must have heard about SQL or uses SQL or have used SQL. So what we have done is basically we use the graph SQL, which is very similar to SQL language, and that actually gives you a benefit very quickly to use this. This is available on cloud. So if you are thinking of using this, it goes with your organization's plan, whether you are going to do it on premise or on cloud. You have the options available. And we have customers who are actually using it for different use cases. We'll cover that in the coming slides. We have customers all across the globe, various industries you talk about. We have 8 out of top 10 banks using our solutions today. Media, manufacturing, you talk about government, telcos. Most of the organizations will have use cases around it. We'll try to cover a few more there. If you really look at the financial institutions, media, manufacturing, what you see is your data is there in the silos today. The customer data is different, borrowings is different, repayments are different, ATM data is, and a lot of other data, and a lot of third-party data which you get right now. And biggest challenge is how do you connect that? And that is where graphs actually play a very important role and allows you to bring your data, use TigerGraph as a relational, setting up the relationships. And when you do this, you're doing analytics. And what you're doing is basically you're also creating your machine learning models, which actually allows you to do a lot of work moving forward without touching your system. The system will take care of that. And this is the TigerGraph ecosystem, which will actually help you that. And the beauty of this thing is your core systems will remain same, your downstream systems will remain same, but the TigerGraph will sit in between and actually provide you those insights which will actually help you to do your business. So typically your data sources could be any technology, and the TigerGraph sits in between, and these are your enterprise data infrastructure, where BI will be using the insights from TigerGraph, analytics. You talk about visualization, dashboard reports, you just name it, you can do that. So this simply sits in between and gives you those additional insights because of the relationships. We can do that very quickly. What is the technology difference we are talking about here is typically in a conventional technology, we have this setup where there is a user who has got an account, there is a phone number attached to it, there's a device on which he is using this phone number, he has put an email as a confirmed thing, he has a credit card, And when he's actually making a payment, it looks clean. And if you really look at, there is another phone number which gets there. So typically we see this payment happening, this user is clean, the payment is through, and everything looks fine. But with graph databases, on the fly, what you're doing is basically you have this data, but at the same time, when you're transferring this money to this another user, which has got a phone number, which was earlier used on, this is using a device which was used with a fraudulent phone number in the past. And this past, you can decide whether it is 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever is your acceptable or as per regulation, you can do that. And it can very quickly do that while the payment is happening. We can do a lot of forensic postmortem, data postmortem, but here we are talking about the real-time, linking. And when you can do real-time linking, there is a flag. And when there is a flag, you can actually, though it's a 500, maybe 5,000, 50,000 rupees transaction this user is doing, but the moment this number is a fraudulent, there is a connection to this, you get insight, and basically because of that, you now know that there is a red flag on this, and you can take a call based on that. What we are talking about here is basically a 6-hop catch which we have done, which a traditional technology can't do. That is where graphs actually play a very important role, and this can be done on the fly, real time. We'll cover one use case where a few of the customers are using it. When you look at the technology per se, we are talking about the TigerGraph technology, which can basically deal with 500 GBs of data. These are the third-party benchmarking data. We are talking about the data loading time. We are talking about the 6-hop. We just saw one 6-hop query where we just got hold of that fraudulent device and number. And we are also talking about how they are connected. And when you look at this, all other technologies basically go multifolds, 2 to 3 digits slower than TigerGraph. And the 5 TB data loading, a lot of other technologies will not even load the data. And that is why if your business where you're looking at huge data and you're looking at a very quick performance, TigerGraph is the winner here. This was one of the use cases I was talking about. This is actually Bank of America, which actually uses this for their credit card related transactions, and how fast. So generally what happens, they say that when there is a $1 fraudulent transaction, they actually spend around $2.67 to deal with that dollar. So you can imagine the amount of money we are talking about going out. And with banks, the biggest challenge you face is not the losing money. What you lose is the reputational risk. The more I see my bank struggling with these issues, my confidence on my bank goes down, and that is the biggest loss for any financial institution. So Bank of America takes it very seriously, and they worked on this. And if you can see the results here, because of with the advanced analytics from graphs, they were able to go into these hops and catch hold of those fraudulent card transactions. The difference here in the results is basically we really look at the run and time pre-processing, and then actually working on those fraudulent cases. The difference, I don't need to say that. So 1 hour, 50 minutes with the conventional technology and the other graph technologies, TigerGraph does it in less than 13 minutes. So they claim that they save around $50 million every year. And if you really look at the customer lifecycle value per se, it translates to around 200 million per year for them. When we talk about graph databases have been there for long, around 15, 20 years. And when we talk about graph database, most of the people in this room, must have heard about it, read them about, learn them in the their engineering days. But when we actually look at how do you make it usable to, the most of the audience or most of the users, that is where TigerGraph has done a tremendous job of bringing this studio. When I say studio, what it does is basically it brings a lot of ease of use, and this is nothing but a experience, right? User experience. And here, without writing a single line, you can actually bring your data, you can design your model, you can bring data, you can load data, you can run queries. There are ready-made algorithms which are ready for frauds, different type of frauds, anti-money laundering, user recommendations. You bring it, you run on top of that. And after that, if you want to do some fine-tuning, you can use that GSQL I was talking about, the SQL type of language, which you can use and make the changes and fine-tune it for your benefits. And today, as we are talking about, all organizations are looking at going on cloud, and we have taken that very seriously, and that's why we have the cloud starter kit. So we have this cloud edition available, and there is a free version available up to 50 GB of data, which everybody can go right now. There's something called TG Cloud where you can go and you can start using it. So there is a ready-made data in it. There are different models here. You can actually immediately start using it to get a feeling on that. And this is also available if you are already working with these different cloud vendors, and you already have your contracts in place. You can actually start using TigerGraph from tomorrow through your marketplace agreements. And when we talk about the use cases, graph use cases, there are plenty. I'm not going in detail of all, but supply chain, fraud, recommendation engines, entity resolutions, customer 360, these are the few major one. But if you really look at here, the drug reaction analysis, which is very good, very important for pharma industries, network and IT resource utilization, as well as cyber security related use cases. Law enforcement actually uses it into different purposes. Many use cases are there. We'll try to cover few financial use cases, one or two, just to give you a quick idea on this. As I said, 8 out of top 10 global banks actually use this. Different use cases. Few of them are like impact analysis when you're because of the communities and clusters, the fraud rings which are there, how they impact various groups, and that type of idea. Credit scoring is a big demand nowadays. We all see that 10-second loan or 90-second loan. A lot of banks talk about it. These are the solutions. These are the use cases where graph can actually help them. Credit card is a major issues, because whenever you go very strong on your controls, a lot of false positive, a lot of innocent users will actually feel those controls, and their customer experience get really bad. And if you try to make it little lighter, the fraudsters will take the benefit. So that is where we come into picture. How do you make sure that your false positives are reduced, so your users, the innocent customers, are not facing the brunt of a lot of controls? However, you are able to take care of your fraud part. So multiple use cases. You can reach out to us for more details on this. And typically, if you look at a bank or a financial institution, this is the maturity graph, the way we have seen how they use it. So basic use case is the KYC. You have multiple relationships, you have multiple documents given to you. How do you create a single KYC for your customers? He may be giving you as per the law or regulation, but how do you combine that and create a single profile for him from a KYC per se? And once you can do that, the fraud and anti-money laundering, a lot of customers actually use for this. And this is ultimate, because knowing your customer is very important for two reasons. One, you want to do cross sell, upsell. You want to use them to reach out to more customers in the future. That's the growth side. On the other side, we are talking about, if you know your customer and you know a bad customer and you know their connections, you know how to control that. So tomorrow a very fresh customer comes to you, but if you can find out there's a relationship with a fraudulent customer which is already barred by you, you can very easily take a call on that and stop that. And that's the reason we see a lot of bad loans coming today, or credit card frauds coming. We can stop those situations here. And typically what we are talking about is all this data. You can bring all this data at one place, and when you bring all this data and you can relate, these are the use cases I was talking about, the upsell and cross sell. How do you make the customer experience better, where I said a credit card transaction for me is not stopped because I'm an innocent customer, but your controls are now, because of graph technologies, are set in such a way that you don't trouble me. You actually are able to take care of the fraud guys. Customer segmentation, every bank struggles and tries to do that. There's a lot of potential, a lot of room there for improvisation. Content personalization is something very important today, because you may have X number of customers, but every customer is not your target customer. You have them as a customer, but you want to find out the right customers and give them something which they will like. I don't like 10 messages or 10 offers coming to me. I would love one offer which actually fits my behavior, my expectation, my understanding, and my interest. And if you can do that you can do with this, either showing me the right data, proposing me the right product, or taking care of my interaction with you. Support personalization, the extension of this, and the adoption personalization. This is very important. How do you increase your adoption for those customers gradually? You can do this with the Customer 360. This is another bank. This is US bank. They actually handle the anti-money laundering use case with TigerGraph. And basically what they are talking about is the same thing. We spoke about this thing, false positive. They were able to do the anti-money laundering earlier, but they were actually putting a lot of controls. And because of that, a lot of innocent customers were actually facing the bond. They were supposed to give a lot of documentation, a lot of information, and the amount of time they were spending on these false positive, they were actually not able to take care of the actual fraud cases. So with this, their accuracy has increased. And at the same time, when you are actually able to find this, and when you discover these non-obvious relationships, this basically investigators can use this data, and a lot of automated pattern detection. I was talking about the machine learning part. You can develop that actually helps you to make the experience better, at the same time control your frauds. And the US bank claims that they have actually increased their accuracy by 10%, which is resulting into around $20 million of saving. When we talk about this anti-money laundering or fraud, the one is the money you lose, the reputational risk we are talking about, and the fines are, completely a big issue there. So these are the three areas where it hits you, and with the TigerGraph, actually, you can take care of those issues. One more thing which is interesting today, important today, critical today is basically the blockchain and the cryptocurrency we are talking about. There's a company called Merkle Science which actually uses this. We don't know how the market will go, how RBI will behave, how government will change the regulations. But tomorrow, if cryptocurrencies are coming, and we have to ensure that there are no frauds, because the greater the technology, greater the chances of mishaps also can happen. So how do you control that? And that is the way this Merkle Science actually uses. And the beauty of this solution for them is they can go deeper into 5 to 10 hops into the data, and they are able to analyze those relationships. And based on those relationship, if there is a fraudulent guy connected with that particular transaction, by depending on the degrees, they actually take a call, and they are able to take care of those fraudulent cases. I'll stop here. Very quickly, we are talking about, there is a free enterprise license you all can try. There is a cloud instance available, which you can go register and start using it free of cost for 50 GB data that is available. You want to reach out to us for any sort of trial, or there are various on-demand sessions which are available, which you can use and take the benefit of that. And after that, if you still need some more information, or you are interested in knowing more about it, you can reach out to me. My details are there on the last slide. Shivangi, is it possible to show the last slide?
Rajeshwar sir.
The next slide, Rajeshwar. Yeah. So you can take down my details here, and I'm sure this time was very limited. It's a very detailed topic. Please reach out. Feel free to reach out to me, and we can have one-on-one discussions and take you through that. Thank you so much, Elets, for giving this opportunity, and thank you everyone for joining this session. Over to you, Shwan.
Thank you for such a great presentation, sir. I hope our viewers must have enjoyed and gained a piece of knowledge through this. Now, as a token of appreciation, I would like to present an appreciation certificate. Can we have the certificate?
I can see. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Khushal Bhansali, Country Manager, TigerGraph. Thank you for sharing such a great presentation. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.